ready to go. A big-time matchup coming up here as we continue Monumental Mayhem here on WFTDA.com. Alongside Kent, the politician from Burning River, my name's Muckety Muck from the Arch Rival Roller Girls. So excited for this bout here, featuring the Arch Rival Roller Girls taking on the Black Sheep from Cincinnati. And we're not going to waste any time here. We'll look over the rosters here in just a little bit. We've got some changes here to tell you about, and we'll let you know those changes here in just a little bit. To start things off, it'll be downtown Dallas for the Arch Rival Roller Girls, who are wearing the pink here in this matchup. And
that's Kay Lethal, who's wearing the starred helmet cover for Cincinnati, as we got a gesture of love from Dump Truck as he walked by, looking to give a gesture of love to their roller derby fans, Kay Lethal and downtown Dallas. Kay Lethal just got knocked out there in turn 3, re-enters and turn in the back straightaway. Downtown Dallas trying to do a dance, and she has escaped the first wall. Oh, both jammers have now come through, but downtown Dallas is designated as the lead jammer. Kay Lethal, a very talented young skater who's had a very impressive tournament thus far. Downtown Dallas, a veteran, the featured women's flat track roller derby skater for the month of August. But Muckety Muck, I don't want to take all your thunder, as you are one of the Arch announcers and know this team much better than I do, but there goes downtown Dallas calling off the jam. Looks like 2 points for both teams, and hopefully that's the longest I'll talk in any one full blast. Muckety Muck, you and I have worked together, and I got to say, it's an honor to be sitting next to you again, sir.
It is a plum pleasing pleasure. I'm looking forward to this bout here today. If you're just now joining us here on WFTDA.com, this is day number 2 of Monumental Mayhem, and it truly has been monumental as we've seen a lot of upsets here today. We'll tell you about what's been a very interesting Saturday here at the Indianapolis Convention Center here in Indianapolis. At the line here for Arch Rival, it's going to be May Require Stitches, and she will be matched up for the Cincinnati Black Sheep. It is Hannah Ochocinco, number 85. So with a 2-2 bout here after one jam, keep in mind the winner of this one will advance to play the Chicago outfit in the 5th place bout coming up tomorrow. A lot riding on the line here in this one with 2 teams that can't wait to get to that 5th place spot. With the lead, it will be May Require Stitches here for Arch Rival.
Right you are, yes. May Require Stitches comes through the pack very strongly. Ochocinco still held up by that front line of pink. Included in that, the Mayor, Francis Slayer, one of their very talented blockers on the Arch team. We got a pile up there in the beginning of turn 1, and it looks like we've got a grand slam. The 5 goes in the air, and May Require Stitches has put up 5. Cincinnati played earlier, and so we are going to be noticing to see whether or not the team has any fatigue as they move out. This is Arch's first battle today, isn't that right, Muckety Muck?
Absolutely. They played 2 yesterday, got the win over the outfit in the opening round, and then fell to the Windy City Rollers, the top seed here in the North Central region, in the semifinals. And then for Cincinnati, yes, they did have a bout earlier today against the Ohio Roller Girls, a 168-86 decision over the girls from Columbus here. May Require Stitches continues on, and she will call this one off with 26:45 left here in our opening period. And due to the 9-pointer scored there by May Require Stitches, it will be an early 11-2 lead. Let's take a quick look at the rosters here in this matchup between Arch Rival, who are in pink, and Cincinnati, who are in black. For the All-Stars from Arch Rival, it's OOP5, Party Foul 101, downtown Dallas, 1138 Chewbacca, number 121 Smarty McFly, 211 Stabby McCutcheon, number 23 Science Friction, 282 May Require Stitches, 299 Shimmy Hoffa, number 4 Mayor Francis Slayer, 40K is Black Market Baby, number 43 is Art of Mischief, 520 is Eli Wallach, 6FU is Grave Danger, and M2 is Mighty Mighty Boston, who is at the line here for Arch Rival.
Yeah, Mighty Mighty Boston also in a very impressive jammer, in the jammer rotation very heavily. Arch had a doubleheader, 2 bouts yesterday, but this first jam that Mighty Mighty Boston is a part of goes to the jammer from Cincinnati, which is Wheezy, number 43.
Interesting story on Wheezy. She didn't play in our opening bout here against Ohio. She was fighting a stomach virus earlier today and did not skate. We saw her practicing, and it was a last-minute decision here by Cincinnati on whether or not they were going to start Wheezy. She's very imperative to a 3-jammer rotation here for Cincinnati. So because of that, You can see right there, Wheezy. She seems to be fine. She seems to be looking good here. She notches up 4 points, and it cuts the deficit to 5 points with Arch Rival up 11-6.
Right you are, Muckety Muck. Black Market Baby is taking the jammer stripe against K Lethal. We will, do you want to do the Cincinnati roster, or you want me to try to take a shot at it?
We'll do it on the next break here.
Okay.
The action has been fast and furious, and I don't want to take away from the action that you're seeing here on WFTDA.com. And we thank you so much for coming along for the ride. Still plenty of Derby action to go here. Of course, in the main event coming up later on tonight, it is Windy City versus the host Naptown Tornado Sirens. But we still got a primetime action and bout here with Arch Rival and Cincinnati. And it will be K Lethal as your lead jammer here for the Black Sheep, and she's going to be one to watch here for Cincinnati.
She's very fast and is just very hard to take off her skates. She's a very thin jammer, but seems to use her leverage really well. I mean, she just sidestepped around the inside line. We've got a penalty there, number 86. That's Newcomb being sent to the penalty box. She will join 2 Arch Rival blockers there in the box. Black Market Baby has come through the pack. K Lethal has already put up 4, I believe. And she calls off the jam, so we'll get... Nope, they say that K Lethal has only put up 1 point. Shoveler putting the 1 up in the air. No, again, I will correct myself. That was the second pass score. So K Lethal has, in fact, tied it up, as I thought she may have, and then I talked myself out of it.
That's all right.
But that's okay. You. I'm Kent the Politician. That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Taking a look at your starting lineup here for Cincinnati. They'll have number 11, Skater Kitty, followed by, of course, K Lethal. Number 18, Barracuda wears number 19. June with the Cleavers, number 21. 29 is Ruffin the Passer. Number 3 is Karma Crash. I'll be able to slow down a little bit now with this quick whistle. Number 30 is Kitten Kicker. Number 32 is Candy Kickass. 33 is Bunkhead Betty. Wheezy checks in at number 43. Murder Her is number 44. Pentapanga is number 77. Hannah Aucho Cinco, 85. And 86, Newcomb for Cincinnati. Interesting story here for Arch Rival coming into this contest. If you heard me announce the rosters, and if you're watching in St. Louis, you didn't hear me mention the co-captains here for Arch Rival, that being the Educator and South City Shiner in a defensive strategy here for Arch Rival. They wanted to focus more on the blocking, so both South City Shiner and the Educator, who do some jamming here for Arch Rival, has been taken out by choice here by Arch Rival, and they've decided to go with a more hardcore blocking lineup here for the ladies from St. Louis. So you only get 14 skaters to skate out there. You got to utilize your resources effectively, and that's the mindset of the bench coaching here for Arch Rival. Jim Dandy here so far, an 11-11 tie here between Arch Rival and Cincinnati. Keep in mind the winner takes on the Chicago outfit for 5th place.
Right you are, Muckety Muck. Looks like we're about ready to get into action. Cincinnati will have a 3-2 advantage in the pack, as there is 1 blocker for the Black Sheep in the sin bin and 2 from Arch Rival in the sin bin.
And just to give you a little bit of an update, that last whistle that we heard from the officials, a clarification on the penalties, that's been sorted out and taken care of. Neither team charged with a timeout on that one.
Right you are, Muckety Muck. Downtown Dallas has sped her way around the track, and she is designated as the lead jammer. Ocho Cinco took a tumble there in turn 1 and 2, but she's back up on her skates, but she now escapes the pack. So both skaters will be on their scoring pass, but Downtown Dallas with a fairly big lead and has already registered some points.
And Arch Rival finding themselves in a lot of foul trouble early on in this matchup, as we see Shimmy Hoffa sitting in the penalty box. Mayor Francis Slater just emerged from the sin bin, and right now with Cincinnati now coming back to a full pack, thank goodness there for Arch Rival if you're cheering for them. Downtown Dallas was able to notch up, and we'll get the official collection of points here in just a little bit, but it looks like she got 5 out of that scoring pass there. So it extends, well, actually it gives Arch Rival the lead here at 16-11. 22 minutes, 15 seconds left to go here in our first half of play. It will be may require stitches at the line for the Arch Rival Roller Girls. And on the other side,
that's
it will be Wheezy. And you got to think, if you're cheering for Cincinnati, you're happy that she's in the lineup here tonight. Expect big things from her.
Right. No, that was a great news flash he gave us early in the day, just that Wheezy unable to go in the first bout. Cincinnati well regarded and took a tumble earlier today. But Wheezy in the lineup, not only just as a veteran, but as fresh legs, as these back-to-back games can be awfully tough on teams here at the North Central Regional Playoffs. So Wheezy has, in fact, made it all the way through the pack, and I believe has put up 5, because May Require Stitches has yet to escape the pack, and we see the nickel go up in the air from referee Shoveler.
Arch Rival still with a 2-skater disadvantage, so it's up to Slayer, Chublaka, and of course the jammer out there May Require Stitches, who is primarily a blocker here for Arch Rival, but she does have jamming capabilities. So of course Magnum PIMP and the other bench coaches deciding to make her more imperative in the jammer rotation here today.
And Wheezy calls it off. Sorry about that, Muckety Muck.
That's all right.
And we're at least tied, if not a lead change. And yes, the scoreboard seems to indicate Cincinnati has jumped back ahead. Currently, the score is 22-16. You are watching the Cincinnati Black Sheep in black, Arch Rival All-Stars in pink. We have 20 and a half minutes left. I'm Kent the Politician, joined here by Muckety Muck. You are watching the North Central Regional Playoffs, and it's very exciting.
It's been a fun weekend here, and really it has been monumental. I mean, it's truth in advertising is what you're seeing this weekend here in Indianapolis. To put it into perspective, yesterday, every team that played that had the higher seed in their bout won. Today, so far
Right.
at Monumental Mayhem, out of 4 bouts that we've had so far, the team with the lower seed has been the winner, and that's really shook up the brackets here in this postseason play.
3 out of 4 times.
3 out of 4?
Yeah, the one team that won, Cincinnati beat Ohio earlier today. And Kay Lethal has come through the pack, and Kay Lethal is the lead jammer. This jammer matchup, quite frankly, was the one that excited me the most, is Mighty Mighty Boston, just an outstanding jammer, and Kay Lethal. And if you can watch Kay Lethal skate, she is so composed and but at the same time just ruthless. She never seems to break her concentration, and the long strides are very effective, and she just withstands the hits very well. And Mighty Mighty Boston just flies, just gets low and is very effective in her jammer positioning, and that was the matchup right there that I really think will be entertaining for those of you watching online.
A 3-2 jam for Cincinnati, so 3 for Lethal and 2 for Boston, so that makes the score 23-18. As we continue on with this action here from the WFTDA, and of course it's being brought to you by Adam Wheels, the official wheel of the WFTDA.
Right you are, Muckety Muck. The whistle blows, there goes the jammers, and the one in the lead. Oh, downtown Dallas sent to the penalty box. Shoveler says, I'm sorry, that's not Shoveler. I don't know who that referee is. It's not Shoveler, but they both have really long sideburns. That's what confused me.
Well, at this level, you can't afford to take penalties like that, and now Cincinnati with a chance to go into the driver's seat, and quickly this jam will be called off by Ocho Cinco.
Yeah, that might...
And now we're going to have Magnum PIMP, the bench coach for Arch Rival, going out to have it over with the officials in the middle of the flat track, who have done an excellent job here. We have not seen any controversy in officiating. It's been very clean by the officiating group here this weekend in Indianapolis, and it's good to see that we haven't had any contested calls, really. Everything has been straight and on the level here. So, the sole jammer here for Cincinnati is going to be Wheezy for the Black Sheep, and they look to extend this 5-point lead.
Yeah, Ocho Cinco called that jam so quickly that Wheezy may well still have a decent amount of the power jam available to her. I'm a little surprised that Cincinnati didn't try to explode off the line, but they've also got a lot of blockers in the penalty box, so Wheezy is really kind of on her own. Looks like she has broken through the pack right there. But this will not be a power jam that Cincinnati will be able to take advantage of for much longer, as I've got to believe that downtown Dallas is going to be springing up into the almost ready to jump off the bench stands fairly soon.
And a double dose of penalty action coming the way of Arch Rival, as both Art of Mischief and Chublaka had to go to the penalty box. So really, Arch Rival behind the 8 ball. They got Stabby McCutcheon and Chublaka, or I'm sorry, Science Friction in front of her, trying to contain Wheezy. And you saw Stabby McCutcheon get knocked to the side there by number 33, Buckhead Betty, and she was very, very instrumental in that victory over Ohio earlier today. But some damage has been done here by Cincinnati with 16:45 left to go here in the first period of play, and more points collected there by Cincinnati, extending this lead now to 10 points at 28-18. If you're just now joining us, let's recap how Saturday has progressed here at Monumental Mayhem. We had ourselves a Jim Dandy early on this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, with the Chicago outfit posting the 158-129 victory over the 6-seeded Mad Rollin' Dolls. So the Mad Rollin' Dolls have now taken a tumble to the 9th place bout here at Monumental Mayhem. Then the team you're seeing right now in the black, the Cincinnati Black Sheep, got a 168-86 victory over the 10th-seed Ohio. In the semifinals, number 3, Minnesota, got a 127-106 victory over the 2nd-seed Detroit. And just a little while ago, the Chicago outfit advances to the 5th place bout with a 129-103 victory over Brew City. And here for Cincinnati, Kay Lethal is your lead jammer.
Yeah, Kay Lethal again right in front of us at turn 3, turn 4. Takes an inside line through those two turns. Got lead jammer on that position, is just flying around the track. Running into the line of pink there, but calls off the jam. And amazingly, May Require Stitches picked up, I think, 4 points. Yes, she did. So a real strong move there by May Require Stitches. Kay Lethal puts up 2 for Cincinnati. But the lead now, 8 points, as Cincinnati has 30. Again, Cincinnati in the black, arch rival 22, arch rival in the pink. We are at 15 minutes and 10 seconds to play here in the first half.
And it will be Mighty Mighty Boston at the line here for arch rival. She'll be matched up against Hannah Outjo-Cinco of the Black Sheep, with Cincinnati sporting the 8-point lead here over arch rival. This one's been a doozy, and out to the front of the pack, it's going to be Mighty Mighty Boston, who has just recently completed her first full season of travel team experience here for St. Louis. She was kind of inserted into the lineup earlier on in the season as a jammer by necessity, but she has really truly blossomed and has grown as a jammer here throughout 2011, and what was just kind of the supplemental jammer here for arch rival early in the year, she has now become a primary jammer for the ladies from St. Louis.
Yeah, I watched Mighty Mighty Boston play at Brouhaha, or as I named it, Two Haha, because it was the second version of Brouhaha, and Mighty Mighty Boston was just fantastic. And she has been equally as impressive here at Monumental Mayhem, and the 5 is in the air for Mighty Mighty Boston, as she has put up at least 1 Grand Slam and is going for more to try to cut into this what was 8-point lead. And by golly, we're going to have a lead change, muckety muck.
Well, I think if you're arch rival, you got to be very, very fortunate in this situation, because you committed a multitude of penalties early on in this bout.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati was not able to capitalize on power jams, or in skater advantage situations, pack advantages there. And another 4 collected there by Mighty Mighty Boston, as this jam concludes with 13:40 left here in the first period of play, and arch rival is now grabbed a half-dozen lead over Cincinnati here. This action that you're watching on WFTDA.com is being brought to you in part by Rydell Skates, the proud partner and the official skate of the WFTDA.
Yeah, so Mighty Mighty Boston able to put up 14 points in that last jam, while arch rival's defensive lineup was able to hold Cincinnati scoreless. And we have another lead change, and we've got Wheezy jamming for the Black Sheep of Cincinnati against Downtown Dallas, and Downtown Dallas scoots down the back straightaway and through turns 3 and 4, and she is well on her way to her scoring pass in lead jammer position. Wheezy has yet to escape the pack at this point.
And she's got a lot of veteran leadership in front of her, and Mayor Francis Slayer, Chewbacca, Smarty McFly, Art of Mischief. All together, you've got 20-plus years combined of derby experience out there. Dallas will notch up 4 here for arch rival, as this lead continues to mount up here for the girls from St. Louis, as the lead is now double digits at 40-30. This one's been an interesting one here so far, and that's how all these battles have been here at Monumental Mayhem. You really couldn't pick a winner on paper, and that's a good thing to have here, because that tells you there's a lot of parity to be found here in the North Central region in 2011, especially with the seeds that came in at 7 through 10, and we've seen how well they've performed, especially with the Chicago outfit as a number 9 seed, all of a sudden finding themselves through hard work, determination, and 2 big victories in the span of about 6 hours in the 5th place bout. Big tumble there as it was Science Friction taking a tumble around turn 2, and this play is really getting physical. Kay Lethal will be your lead jammer here for the Black Sheep.
And the Black Sheep need Kay Lethal to put some points on the board. Arch is on a 24-10 run over the last several jams, but Kay Lethal, again, one of the most consistent jammers that the Cincinnati Black Sheep has.
And oh my, big situation coming up here for Kay Lethal in Cincinnati as Stitches is going to have to go off. And this will be a power jam. Back block call there on May Require Stitches, who also have an extra skater, that being Black Market Baby in the send bin. So here's a chance for Cincinnati to turn this one around. And a third skater now going off for Arch Rival, as it will be Science Friction taking a seat as well. So once again, what hurt Arch Rival early on in this contest is biting them again with 11 minutes left in the first period of play, and we'll see how the Black Sheep can capitalize.
Right you are, Muckety Muck. Kay Lethal with a bit of a whip. She's going to see if she can, and again, strategically, Arch getting to the front of the pack, a very good move. Obviously, you roller derby fans know that the way to prevent scoring is either knock the jammer down or skate so fast they can't pass you. But Kay Lethal has just made another pass. That is, the third Grand Slam, perhaps?
She has notched up a lot of points, and that will be 3 for them. Meanwhile, Hannah Ochocinco is going to take a seat in the penalty box. Meanwhile, Arch Rivals still have 3 skaters off the track. And finally, May Require Stitches will be sprung loose, as well as Science Friction. And finally, Lethal will call off this jam, but some serious damage has been done as Cincinnati has rolled up a 10-point lead here on Arch Rival.
That Kay Lethal, again, living up to her billing, just dropped 20 points on Arch Rival. And yeah, obviously the power jam, contributed mightily to that, but you still have to be able to execute the plays, and Kay Lethal just did.
Well, Lethal had a very productive early bout against Ohio. It was essentially her and Ochocinco scoring in the majority of the points for the Black Sheep. So those are 2 important cogs in the machine, and they like the fact that they've got a third one to work with. And she's been very productive so far with Wheezy at the line for the Black Sheep wearing the black. And, of course, it's Mighty Mighty Boston here for Arch Rival, who are sporting the pink colors here. And finally, Arch Rival will have a full pack.
Yeah, the Black Sheep of Cincinnati still have a skater in the box. Of course, her back is not visible, so I'm not clear what skater that is. But we've got Ruffin the Passer out there for the Black Sheep. And again, Wheezy on the jammer stripe.
And this jam has already been blown by for 40 seconds here, and still no official whistle to spring loose the jammers. Now here they come.
June with a cleaver also out there for the Black Sheep in the pack. And there's one other skater, and of course now the Cincinnati skater is sprung. So both teams at full strength, but of course as soon as we say that, Artie Mischief has been sent off. Mighty Mighty Boston, however, comes through the pack cleanly, and she is designated as the lead jammer. And we've got to cut the track. I thought we were going to have a power jam. Yes, we do. I recognized it before Wheezy did. So we've got a power jam opportunity, and Arch currently down by 10 when this jam started. This will be a great opportunity for... This May Require Stitches or is that Mighty?
That's Mighty Mighty Boston. She's notched up 5 already on this power jam. And here's what Arch Rival was looking for. They were taken advantage of early on in power jams and penalties. And here's the chance for them to cut back in with a trio of black jerseys in front of her. Ruffin the Passer now going to the penalty box as well. And Mighty Mighty Boston around turn 1 with 1 skater to beat. Stays on her quads and down the straightaway. Notches another 5 for another Grand Slam. And this one's tied.
Yes, it is. Muckety Muck, I think we're going to be saying that a lot. We're going to be saying lead change and tied an awful lot. Newcomb there dropped a hit right at the beginning of turn 2, forced Mighty Mighty Boston to double back. And I believe the jam expired.
And, hey, that's just keeping with the overall template of Day 2 of Monumental Mayhem, where we've seen some great action out here on the flat track, and we thank you for watching it here today on WFTDA.com. And if you're enjoying the action, hey, still plenty of time to get the high-quality feed. For only $20, you can make a couple of clicks and see all the great color, all the great action, better quality video and audio. You can check it out by just making a few clicks there at WFTDA.com. And, of course, we'll have the high-quality stream coming at you at Continental Divide and Conquer, which will be happening in a couple of weeks in Colorado.
Muckety Muck, you're the best in the business, the way that you could pass on so much information in just a shift change of the lineups. The good news for Arch Rival is this is still a power jam opportunity. Downtown Dallas has escaped the pack. The bad news is the power jam's over. But Downtown Dallas managed to get through the pack first, and she is designated as lead jammer. We've got more penalties being blown.
Yep, Stabby McCutcheon's going to have to take a seat, and she will be followed. Another power jam now coming up. Wheezy's got a return now. So back-to-back power jams now for the Arch Rival Roller Girls. Dallas will call it off, the contingent of Arch Rivals.
And she just realizes now that that she went from power jam opportunity to another power jam opportunity. But that's okay.
Those things are going to happen. Of course, she was right in front of the St. Louis contingent that has traveled the 4 hours here. They said, no, don't do that, as well as the Arch Rival bench. But that's okay. That resets your offense now with Arch Rival being up by 5 points, and it will be May Require Stitches donning the star here for the ladies in pink. This bout has been all about momentum shifts here so far, as we saw Arch Rival grab an early 9-point lead. Then it was Cincinnati clawing their way back and then posting some huge numbers, and now Arch Rival has got the momentum in their corner, trying to capitalize off of back-to-back power jams. And now here is May Require Stitches as your lead jammer.
And yet another member of the Black Lamb team being sent to the penalty box.
Pentapanga is going to have to take a seat as well. So it is a 3-skater advantage here for Arch Rival as May Require Stitches gets the grand slam here for the ladies of St. Louis. In front for the blocking, it's Eli Wallop, also Smarty McFly, and it is Chublaka. That's a trio I want in front of me if I've got a power jam in front of me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you got Barracuda and Newcomb, but now Newcomb's being sent to the penalty box, but there's too many skaters there, so they have filled up. I was going to say Barracuda and Newcomb having a tough job of it just because they're so out. You know, there's the advantage is clearly the numbers for Arch right now.
Well, the wheels are flying off the wagon now here for Cincinnati. They got to settle down and control. They're finally going to get a couple of blockers back in the situation. But here again, Jess, as soon as they gain a skater, now it's Barracuda going to the penalty box. Big collision there by Stabby McCutcheon and Wheezy there in turn number 3. And this one's been a heavy-hitting one here so far, and you kind of expected it with so much riding on the line in this one here. Arch Rival is built up now, and we'll get the final accumulation of points. It's going to be a 71-50 lead with 4:30 left in the first half of play. And the last 8 minutes, it's primarily been all Arch Rival here by capitalizing off of penalties that Cincinnati has committed.
Yeah, back-to-back power jams, unfortunately, by Wheezy. And, yeah, you've seen the margin go from 40 to 71, while the Black Sheep of Cincinnati have stayed at 50 the last 4 jams. So now we've got Kay Lethal back, and we've got an official's timeout.
Hey.
So, Muckety Muck, what can we do to further capitalism?
Well, let's share a little bit of love with the Derby folks out there for some of the fine folks that are bringing this action here at Monumental Mayhem this weekend, including the fine folks at Elemental Technologies, the world's most powerful video processing solutions. And we also want to say hello to our primary sponsor, and we're glad that they're back again with us this year, and that's the fine folks with Dr. Hushka, the WFTDA's official bruise healer. Lose the bruise with Dr. Hushka's Ouch Aid. Plenty of fine sponsors to tell you about as the evening progresses. We'll hit those here in just a little bit, as well as throughout this bout. Keep in mind, you are watching the bout that's going to send one of these squads to the 5th place bout to take on the Chicago outfit with Arch Rival, who is sporting pink tonight, and it is the Cincinnati Black Sheep. They started out at number 5 to start out Monumental Mayhem, and that's been a lucky number for them all throughout the season. They started the year at number 5. They and only Windy City have been the only ones that have not moved in the rankings. So that shows you that there's been a lot of activity, a lot of hard charges. Conversely, some drop-offs by some established squads. You think of North Star, you think of this weekend Dairyland. You also think of Bruce City. They've had a tough road to hoe here in 2011, and it's good to see some fresh new faces. Of course, we've made mention numerous times of the Chicago outfit that we're excited to see them here at Monumental Mayhem, the North Central Region playoffs this weekend, as well as Ohio, who has made a bounce back here in 2011 as well.
Right you are, Muckety Muck. And the jam gets underway again. We've got Kay Lethal against Black Market Baby, and Black Market Baby jets to the front of the pack. Kay Lethal about a track length behind her, but she has escaped the pack also.
Black Market Baby earlier on this season was not a core member of the arch rival lineup, had an injury bug and about it with that, and now she's back full time with this squad on the charter member here, and she's made big things happen here the last couple of weeks here for St. Louis, and she notched up, it looks like, we'll get the official count, it looks like she did get 4 off of that pass there, so that extends the lead to 25. 75 to 50, 3:20 left to go here in the first half of play. And what's been a fun bout here so far. They've all been fun bouts here at Monumental Mayhem this weekend.
Yeah, Muckety Muck, let me tell you what that timeout was about. Cincinnati has a few skaters lined up to serve penalties, and the officials and the team was just trying to figure out what the order of that should be. And now we're back to Derby with Mighty Mighty Boston lined up against, I believe that's Ocho Cinco? Hannah Ocho Cinco, I think.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Skater Kenny trying to hold back Mighty Mighty Boston, doing a pretty good job, but eventually the no engagement rule comes into play. But that at least allowed some time for Ocho Cinco to get through the pack, considering the springboard out of there that Mighty Mighty Boston had.
More penalties coming the way of Cincinnati. Candy Kickass has to take a seat as this jam will be called off. And we'll get the official confirmation. 4 fingers up in the air. So it's been quite a streak here for arch rival the last couple of minutes as they have now blossomed up at 29 to 50 lead. You get a good look at the bench there. As you can see, the girls from St. Louis very happy and confident here because they did suffer a bit of a setback in that loss against Windy City. And we'll talk more about that 1 versus 8 matchup here in just a little bit. But first we have Downtown Dallas at the line. For arch rival, she will be matched up against Kay Lethal of Cincinnati.
We had a gesture of an official's timeout. All right, I guess that was just a gesture. Because now we're rolling. Again, Kay Lethal versus Downtown Dallas. We might be able to get one more jam in before halftime, but this one might run the full distance. We're kind of right up against it. Kay Lethal through the inside. She loves working the inside of those turns and does so very effectively. She worked the inside of turn 1, and she is the lead jammer. We have more arch rival skaters going to the penalty box, as that's Chublaka, who's going to serve some time. Downtown Dallas also through the pack, but Kay Lethal on her scoring pass, and again, just really effectively gets around. That was the Mayor Francis Slayer, and called off the jam. And we should be able to get one more jam in. So our score currently 54-82 with just 1 minute left.
That was 4 big points picked up there by Lethal because that stopped a long scoring drought there by Cincinnati. It was really starting to feel the pressure there. You don't want to be bound by too much going into the halftime break. Yeah, 50, 60 points. Yeah, you could get back into that contest, but at this level, you just can't surrender that huge of a lead that early on in a bout. And we've seen a couple of teams fall to huge deficits early on and then never be able to catch back up. So those 4 points were crucial, and they need a big strike here.
Black Market Baby jamming against Hannah Ocho Cinco. Black Market Baby went down there in the beginning of turn 1. Ocho Cinco doing a good job of getting around. That was Shimmy Hoffa. And Cincinnati has the final 2 lead jams of the first half. We'll see what Hannah Ocho Cinco can do to try to capitalize for the Black Sheep of Cincinnati.
And she's going to have some help because arch rival is 2 skaters down with Bo Chublaka, and I do believe that is Shimmy Hoffa sitting in the penalty box. So being up by 2 skaters, here's the opportunity that Cincinnati was looking for with Ocho Cinco. Not going to be easy to do, though, because the 2 that are out there are science friction and may require stitches. Of course, you got to throw in Black Market Baby in as well. As this jam continues on with Cincinnati trying to score a few points with the official clock expired. And now here we have a power jam as it will be Ocho Cinco sent off. And now here's what could have been a prime opportunity for Cincinnati, all of a sudden erased. And now with arch rival and Black Market Baby, who's got a full plate in front of her himself with a couple of skaters in front of her around turn 2 now on the straightaway, and she gets all the way through. These are huge points collected here by Black Market Baby, who posts 5 here. And with time winding down, with about 20 seconds left to go in this final jam of the first half of play, when Cincinnati was looking to send a message here at the intermission break, arch rival escapes a bullet essentially here in the latter seconds of the first half.
Muckety Muck, I completely agree with everything you just said because, yeah, the opportunity that Cincy had, and they're playing very smart right now. They're trying to get their front line, their only 2 blockers, to the very front of the pack to make it harder for Black Market Baby to get through. And in that respect, I guess they were effective that they held off the onslaught a little bit, but yeah, just a tough opportunity to let Cincinnati slip through their hands as, again, they got the lead jammer position the final 2 jams, but just weren't able to capitalize.
You
Go ahead.
agree with everything I say, Kent?
I have done focus group polling, and yes.
Well, that makes 2 of us. Your halftime score here at Monumental Mayhem, it's 14-30.
No, it's 58 to 87.
Looking all over the place here. 87-58, our score here at halftime. See, when I'm getting hand gestures from all over the place, you can't throw the old men off here at the table here today. The bout, in summary so far, we've seen a lot of penalties, but the big exception is that arch rival has been able to capitalize on them. Cincinnati found themselves in power jam situations, but only could post 2 or 3 points at a couple of times, whereas arch rival turned it around and notched up 15 and 20 pointers in that first half of play.
Well, the other thing that I noticed is, as I just look over the rolling score, is that with 15 minutes to play, halfway through the first half, Cincinnati was leading. They had a 30-22 lead. That was their largest lead of the game. And then arch rival went on a 65-28 run the final 15 minutes of the second half. The bright spot for Cincinnati, and again, they put up 56 points. The bright spot for Cincinnati, Kay Lethal, who scored 36 points. Arch rival, very balanced. May Require Stitches had 29. Mighty Boston had 30. So again, quite frankly, Muckety Muck.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Right, I don't either. And again, arch rival will begin with a power jam opportunity, as we saw it was Wheezy right at the end. Ocho Cinco got whistled for a penalty, and so downtown Dallas, as we are underway for the second half, downtown Dallas and her arch rival teammates begin with a power jam opportunity and a 29-point lead.
Well, if you were Cincinnati, you were hoping to shut them down to start the second half of play, but arch rival in downtown Dallas with this power jam situation. Now it's Ocho Cinco emerging from the sin bin, but 10 points has already been scored here by downtown Dallas to start this second half of play. You wanted to kind of get back your momentum and refocus if you're the team that's facing a deficit at halftime in Cincinnati. I'm sure this is not what they wanted. But they do finally have their jammer back out there in Ocho Cinco. Meanwhile, downtown Dallas utilizing the effectiveness of Art of Mischief and Stabby McCutcheon out there, who's looking to collect more and send a serious message with this first jam here of the second half.
Right you are, Muckety Muck.
And she will call this jam off. And another big strike to start out arch rival scoring here in the second half of play. You're watching Monumental Mayhem here on WFTDA.com alongside Kent the Politician from Burning River. I'm so happy you made the trek here to Indianapolis this weekend. It's good to see you again, buddy.
Well, I certainly look forward to working with you any chance I have. And again, you and I have a lot of experience sharing the microphone together. But, 2 of the teams that made it to the North Central Regional, the Ohio team ranked number 10 and the Chicago outfit ranked number 9, at least at the beginning of the tournament, I've had a lot of experience calling for and was happy to come out and lend my support and services to the folks here at Monumental Mayhem and you folks listening at home.
It is May Require Stitches jamming here for arch rival against Kay Lethal of Cincinnati. Still no lead yet, as this one is turning into a dogfight in front of the pack. And with one skater to beat, Art of Mischief has to go to the penalty box, and it will be Kay Lethal here as your lead jammer for Cincinnati. No, it does not look like Art of Mischief will go out. I thought we were going to have a whistle there, but that was not the case.
Right.
So this one continues on.
Yeah, you and I saw the exact same thing, and I think we were both waiting for the referee to call Art of Mischief. She did not, and we were both surprised, but Kay Lethal did get the lead jammer position. It is on a scoring pass. May Require Stitches also through. Kay Lethal calls off the jam after picking up 4 points. Again, adding to her impressive total And the score currently 62-94. 27.5 minutes left to play in this, our fourth bout of the day, or our fifth bout. There's been a lot of bouts so far. It's a fifth bout. And again, arch rival in pink, Cincinnati Roller Girls in black.
So with it being Boston for arch rival, who's wearing the pink unis out there against Wheezy for Cincinnati, sporting the black and the black star on her helmet, or I should say the silver star with the black panty. Trying to get around Science Friction. That's not easy to do, but she does get into the front of the pack. No, she will not be lead jammer, however. So this one's still wide open, and that's an unfortunate situation there for a skater who might not be playing at 100% today. As we said at the beginning of this bout, she was suffering from a stomach virus going into this bout. They're happy to see her on the flat track, though.
Yeah, and now, of course, you see the Black Sheep line of defense lining up very strongly and doing a great job against Mighty Mighty Boston, because if Mighty Mighty Boston can get through, she's going to get designated as lead jammer and may be able to call off the jam. And you've seen Wheezy make her way through the pack, and so she's on her scoring run. But again, that's in large part due to the fact that some of the really strong blocking, such as Karma Crash and Skater Kenny from the Black Sheep of Cincinnati, doing such an effective job against Mighty Mighty Boston, who's no slouch herself, a very talented skater, having put up, I believe, 30 points in the first half.
More penalties being assessed here for arch rival as Science Friction has to join Art of Mischief in the penalty box, so it's a two-skater advantage here for the Black Sheep, who currently have the lead jam, only being down now by 27 points. Still plenty of clock time here, and it looks like, wasn't sure how that one was going to go. Skater Kenny is going to get sent off as well. This jam expires with 25:40 left to go here in regulation, and thanks in part to Kay Lethal, the Cincinnati Roller Girls, the Black Sheep, are able to whittle away at the lead, and this is what you have to do if you're Cincinnati. You don't have to swing for the fences early. You just got to chip away 4 or 5 pointers here or there, and you're back into this contest here. And then just wait for arch rival to make a mistake and then jump and pounce, and that's all that Cincinnati needs to do. So no need to push the panic button yet. 23 points, that's within striking distance, and as we've seen in this bout so far, that's seen numerous momentum shifts. Cincinnati can easily strike at a moment's notice.
Right you are, Muckety Muck. I would point out to our the folks at home, this is a 2-on-2 pack, as both teams have 2 skaters in the penalty box, so only 3 skaters for each team out there, and Hannah Ochocinco makes good use of that, and she has positioned herself as the lead jammer. Black Market Baby not far behind. So we will see how far Hannah wants to take this, and she does not take it far. It's a 0-0 jam. I think she wishes she had the opportunity to get a little bit farther, but decided to play it smart. Again, 0-0. Not a bad way to go.
And while we have this quick stoppage in action, hey, you want to find out more about some of our great sponsors here? Well, you can find them online, including the fine folks at Dr. Hashka. They celebrate the fresh faces of the WFTDA. And hey, if you're watching online and you're still here at Monumental Mayhem, then stop by their booth. They'll also be at Continental Divide and Conquer, and you can get your fresh face thanks to Dr. Hashka.
Well done. Brian and I, a firm believer in Dr. Hauschka.
I don't know who you're talking about, Ken.
I'm so bad.
I have no idea.
Muckety Muck and I, a firm believer in Dr. Hauschka. For all the announcer bruises that Muckety Muck's going to give me after this broadcast is over.
I'll let it slide this time. Kay Lethal out there for Cincinnati, but as your lead jammer, it's going to be downtown Dallas for arch rival, who need to kind of turn it around. They've been kind of stuck at 94 for a little bit here. And now we're seeing Kay Lethal questioning where the position of the pack is. Meanwhile, it is downtown Dallas making it all the way around for 4 points here. And she will net this 4 and calls off the jam with 23-25 left in regulation. And arch rival extending the lead now to 98-71. You get a good look at the WFTDA skater for the month of August, downtown Dallas, who has been instrumental ever since she joined arch rival from Assassination City back in 2009.
Downtown Dallas, responsible for all 11 points arch rival has put up thus far in the second half. Cincy had actually made a fairly good run, and considering they started the second half with a power jam, that was actually fairly impressive. Cincinnati has been held scoreless the last 2 jams, so we will see. We've got Hannah Ochocinco lined up against, who is that?
That will be May Require Stitches, number 282 at the line. So you've got veteran versus rookie here, donning the the Star.
Nice
But
move.
may require Stitches as your lead jammer for Arch Rival.
A really strong move there coming out of turn 2. She was outside, gave a juke and cut hard to the inside to get. But Hannah came through the pack, was designated lead jammer, and called it off. So another 0-0. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Well, another 0-0 to jam, but not a consecutive 0-0 to jam.
Want to say hello to the fine folks at Roller Girl Skates. Kent, have you been smacked by a rollergirlskates.com yet this weekend?
Why, yes.
Why, yes, and you were happy that it happened.
And I will not comment on it for my political
this
career
is
in the
a family
balance.
show. Stop by their booth to play if you're here at Monumental Mayhem this weekend or on the road in the postseason with the WFTDA with rollergirlskates.com.
Kay Lethal back on the stripe and may require Stitches again, putting on the jammer
that will
helmet.
be the case here.
Kay Lethal takes an outside block and gets designated as lead jammer. She survived the outside hit from the arch blocker.
Well, she needs to make things like that happen, and as we saw in our earlier bout against Ohio, it was primarily Ocho Cinco and Lethal doing all the jamming for Cincinnati. I think they were out there for, well, you would have to say at least in the jammer position, 40+% of the time out there, donning the Star out there
I agree.
for Cincinnati. They expect that at this level. There's been a lot of turnover at Cincinnati, and we should make mention of that because this is a different looking squad than we saw last year in 2010. And they've done some very solid things as a group. They've reorganized, they've refocused, they've looked to the future as well. And I think if you're a Cincinnati fan, you're going to be very, very happy with the forward progression. Regardless of how they finish here this weekend at Monumental Mayhem, you got to feel good that they were able to maintain that 5th spot throughout the course of the season, especially with the tough competition that they had to face here in 2011.
So we've got Mighty Mighty Boston jamming for Arch Rival and the Black Sheep Skater.
Well, that is Candy Kickass, who is only the 4th jam, and she's already going to the penalty box, and it's a power jam now here for Mighty Mighty Boston. So unfortunate circumstances donning the Star for your first time here tonight, and add one more blocker to boot as it's going to be the Captain Ruff and the passer taking a seat as well. So this could be huge here for Arch Rival and Mighty Mighty Boston with the skater advantage and the power jam forthcoming for the ARG rookie. It will be up to the veteran blockers, both being Buckhead Betty and also number 85, Hannah Ochocinco, who now has found herself in the role of a blocker here for Cincinnati, trying to keep Mighty Mighty Boston at bay.
Yeah, I saw the I saw the number, but I misread it. I was looking for an 82. Candy Kickass's number is 32. Misread her number. There's no 82 on the Cincinnati team. So I was like, well, I'm sorry, I can't tell you who that is because she's not on my list. So I apologize, viewers, if you're listening out there. That was the reason why I was scrambling for information there. And, of course, Muckety Muck was there to pull me out of the ditch.
Meanwhile, Mighty Mighty Boston continues this power jam, and this one's really starting to open up here by Arch Rival.
Yes.
10 minutes into the second half of play. Cincinnati's got to buckle down now as it is pretty much freewheeling skating here by Mighty Mighty Boston, with Arch Rival now up 113-71. She's still a good distance away from the pack as another blocker emerges from the sin bin. That will be Ruffin the passer now getting back into gameplay.
Yeah, Mighty Mighty Boston, a huge jam, calls it off before Candy's able to get into the pack and try to score some points. So yeah, one of the things I was going to point out is that we, in the first 7 jams of the second half, we've actually had 3 0-0 jams, which considering how quickly the score was progressing in the first half, that was unusual. And then, of course, Mighty Mighty Boston puts up like about a jillion points right there.
Maybe not that many.
She put up 19.
We'll narrow the math a little bit there.
A jillion.
If you're enjoying the action here on WFTDA.com, and we know that you are, then be sure you stick around later on tonight. Number 1 versus number 4 with Windy City and Naptown. Here in the Indiana Convention Center, this place will be loud, I can guarantee. Well, it's loud to begin with. It definitely will be louder later on tonight. Jamming out there for the Black Sheep.
Kay Lethal and Black Market Baby jamming for the team in pink. That's Arch Rival. Again, in black, the Black Sheep of Cincinnati. And this is a matchup of the number 8 team in the region, and the number 5 team in the region. The number 5 team being the Cincinnati Black Sheep, the number 8 team, the arch rival All-Stars.
Good movement there by Ocho Cinco trying to keep Black Market Baby at bay, but there's only so much that you can do. Meanwhile, Black Market Baby is going to continue on here for arch rival. Now more penalties being assessed as Kay Lethal will be calling off the jam here. 17:20 left to go in regulation. And then after that whirly dervish, it will be 117 for the arch rival Roller Girls in Cincinnati at 71. While we're at it, let's say hello to the fine folks at Skate Court. You can take your league to the next level with Skate Court Roller Derby Flat Tracks. So check them out, Skate Court Roller Derby Flat Tracks. This flat track's been getting a heck of a lot of usage here at Naptown this weekend. We've seen some great action in day number 2 and what's been a monumental day if you're just now joining us, as we've seen a lot of upsets here today. And now it's going to be a power jam situation for Cincinnati as downtown Dallas is going to have to go off. So now here's the opportunity with Wheezy here as she's trying to get around the blocking contingent there of arch rival to be lead jammer. She hasn't got it yet there on her initial pass. So it's going to be up to Stabby McCutcheon and Science Friction, a solid tandem up front. There's 3 skaters sitting in the arch rival, so it's going to be a big, heavy task for Wheezy if she can get around the 2 arch rival blockers. Now she gets some help there.
Yeah, roughing the passer and Buckhead Betty trying to do all they can. And number 77, Penchigana. I've completely butchered that.
Wheezy's trying to do everything now. Stabby McCutcheon will have to take a seat. Meanwhile, Jublanka will join here shortly. Science Friction as the lone skater out there for arch rival couldn't contain Wheezy any longer, and she will now be your lead jammer. But this power jam expired for 1 entire minute.
And you get... Cincinnati's got to seize the opportunity to slow the pack down. You know, we never want to be accused of coaching from the mic, but you know, with a power jam opportunity and so many arch rival blockers in the penalty box, this really was an opportunity for, I mean, obviously you're not going to make up a 50-point difference, but you could have chewed into it fairly substantially and given yourself a much better chance with 15 minutes remaining in the bout to make a comeback.
So downtown Dallas now on the flat track here for arch rival as the penalty has expired. And give credit where credit is due. That could have been very, very productive there for Cincinnati. And they tried really, really hard. Let's face it, they did everything that they could. But arch rival only allowed 4 points off of that power jam there. So that could be a difference maker in this bout here. When Cincinnati had a chance to really capitalize, they only scored 4. And this is a big situation here for arch rival where they were able to counteract what was potentially a very lethal situation there.
No, I completely agree. Person who I've named Muckety Muck. So yeah, we've got Hannah Ochocinco getting by using the back straightaway, and she is designated as the lead jammer. Jamming for arch rival is May Require Stitches, who's still held up in the pack moving very quickly. Hannah Ochocinco lining up the opportunity for a scoring pass. And again, if you're in the front and you're a Black Sheep skater, you need to play some defense and try to slow that pack down again to capitalize on every opportunity. May Require Stitches takes a rough tumble there entering into turn 1, and she has escaped the pack.
Newcomb, Murderer, also June with the cleaver, making things happen out there for Cincinnati. That's been a very solid group of girls and solid skaters out there for Cincinnati this year, who have had to face some very tough opposition here in 2011. As we said, you know, they finished the seedings at number 5, considering that they have played some of the very best, not only here in the North Central region, but across the nation. They didn't want any slouches on the schedule, that's for sure. They wanted to take on the best of the very best, and that gives you a true assessment of how solid your squad is when you do take on higher competition. So even though your season record may not reflect it on paper, you know down deep in your heart how solid you are. And Kay Lethal has been a primary factor for the heart and soul of this squad here. And as it looked like that she was not going to be lead jammer, Mighty Boston was designated there. And we will have ourselves a stoppage here.
Yeah, good athleticism by both jammers there. Kay Lethal managed to get through the pack again very quickly, realized that she had was not going to get designated as lead jammer, and worked really hard to try to get back to the pack and score some points. And Mighty Boston, realizing exactly what the scenario was, fought through that pack And again, those two jammers are really very talented for both of their respective teams.
I love this matchup here with Wheezy for Cincinnati and Black Market Baby for Arch Rival. Big collision right off the start there. And it will be Wheezy as your lead jammer. I don't care if she's not at 100%. We'll take her anyway if you're cheering for Cincinnati here today, because she's made big things happen, even though she was not feeling too well earlier here today. But she knows how important these bouts are. Her team knows how important she is in the foundation of their offense. And you can see once again, and now fourth minor being called here against Mayor Frances Slayer. So she will have to sit down, and now timeout being called here by Cincinnati with 12:05 left to go here in regulation for Cincinnati. That's their first timeout taken, so they still have 2 left to go. Arch Rival has all 3 of their timeouts.
Do you want to tell us about some of our fine sponsors?
Absolutely.
There, Mr. Muckety Muck?
We always love to share the love of our sponsors here, including our primary sponsors, including Dr. Hashka's. They're the WFTDA's official bruise healer. You lose the bruise with Dr. Hashka's Ouch Aid. Also want to say hello to the fine folks at Adam Wheels. They're the official wheel of the WFTDA. That's Adam Wheels, and as well, Rydell Skates. You can put those Adam Wheels on Rydell Skates. They're a proud partner and the official skate of the WFTDA. We also want to thank some of our other sponsors that are helping out this weekend at Monumental Mayhem during the tournament, including Fast Girl Skates, Sun King, Derby Supply, Flat Track Revolution, Nuvo, Derby for All, a whole bunch of fine folks helping this weekend happen here in Indianapolis. And we're at a facility that only earlier on this season hosted its ever first bout of roller derby here. In fact, they've only hosted one bout altogether of roller derby back in February with Naptown. They tried it out as a trial facility to see how it would work, how it would operate as a hosting spot for the regional, for the North Central Region playoffs, and it passed with flying colors. And as we've seen here this weekend, the Indianapolis Convention Center has been a very solid part of why this has been a great weekend. It's going to be Hannah Ochocinco skating out there with the star on her helmet for Cincinnati and gaining the lead.
Yeah, she's up against Downtown Dallas, who is still held up in the pack. And I just did some math while you're doing some sponsor reads. Cincinnati actually having a fairly impressive second half unless you wipe out that power jam. But again, this is Hannah Ochocinco. I had not given enough love to Cincinnati, and I wanted to, as I kind of looked over things, I wanted to make sure I did that. So Hannah Ochocinco lining up a scoring pass. Downtown Dallas has now come through the pack, and she's going to try to do the same. We'll see how this unfolds as both skaters are now in the pack, and Hannah calls it off. Yeah, Muckety Muck, if I could give you kind of the quick analysis that I had done.
Absolutely.
We had when Candy Kickass skated as a jammer for Cincy, she got a power jam, and Mighty Mighty Boston was able to put up 19. If you subtract that 19, if you just call that a 0-0 jam, their score would be 84-98.
Ah, my.
And considering what the halftime score was,
yes,
Cincinnati would be right in this. So clearly they have changed their strategy in the second half, and with just under 11 minutes to play, they can clearly get back in this.
Well, they'll readily admit, probably, if you ask some fly on the wall there in the Cincinnati locker room at halftime, they've committed way too many penalties in the first half of play. They're a more balanced and focused group this time out, and Wheezy's going to be your lead jammer here for Cincinnati, taking on May Require Stitches. So here's Cincinnati has cleaned up the play here in the second half, and it's what's added up to what's going to be a very interesting last stretch, because 32 points is only the deficit now that they are facing, and she will call off this jam after scoring 2 points. So Wheezy contributing as Cincinnati now has whittled the lead down to an even 30 points.
Right you are, Muckety Muck. And Mighty Mighty Boston, who again may well have, I don't want to say saved Arch Rival, because Arch Rival was comfortably in front, but Mighty Mighty Boston's 19-point power jam looming more and more important as Cincinnati claws their way back into this, and we'll see Mighty Mighty Boston up against Ochocinco.
Once again, you got two jammers very comparable in size, speed, also track awareness. And there you see right there as Ochocinco found that open lane on the straightaway. She's going to be your lead jammer here. As you could see, patience and persistence paid off there by Ochocinco, getting that lead jam on the straightaway, finding the open slot to work with. And now we're going to have a couple of penalties assessed, as it will be party foul taking a seat. So Ochocinco here, and now a power jam as Mighty Mighty Boston's going to go on out for cutting the track major. So here, once again, a prime opportunity And now
And
a
Hannah.
simultaneous track cut being called here on Ocho Cinco just some 5 seconds later there. So what? Well, you see the two ladies sitting in the sin bin saying, yeah, I didn't expect to see you here either. So now Ocho Cinco is going to have to sit down, and you can see the officials now checking their stopwatches and seeing how long this is going to happen.
While they check their stopwatches,
Well,
maybe you can check with some of our outstanding sponsors.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? Are you a fan of photography? I am, as you are, as I know. And you want to check out this great new Derby photo book by a friend of ours, Axel Adams, Jules Axel Adams Doyle. It's called Check Out No Mercy. And if you go to the website of Jules Doyle Photography, you will find out about what's going to be a great book. And you don't even have to be a Derby fan to appreciate this book, because Axel Adams takes just great photography. If you're a fan of art, you can find no better beauty in photography than the sport of roller derby. And this makes a fine piece. If you're a derby-loving fan, you won't be disappointed. And if you're not a derby fan, after purchasing this book, you'll become one because of the great photography there.
It's pretty much a no-lose situation for you, the book purchaser. Your life's going to improve if you purchase this book.
And
the good news is your life's going to improve after another 8 minutes and 28 seconds, because then I'll be off the mic.
Oh, don't say that. Also want to say hello to the fine folks at Vanilla Skates. Hey, let Vanilla Derby take you to success with their Leather Renegade and Straight Jacket boots. So check them out today at Vanilla Skates. Well, now we will get back underway with action here. 8:28 left to go here in regulation in the battle that's going to determine who faces the Chicago outfit here. And now we get a look at the benches, and they're fully loaded almost here, Kent.
Right, and an instance that I have rarely seen before. Both jammers will start this jam in the sin bin, and both jammers will be released as soon as the sin bin, as soon as jammer jail is freed.
Well, in the process, Mighty Boston, after that quad sprint, there will be your lead jammer for arch rival, Mayor Francis Slayer, being sent to the penalty box. And once it was clean earlier on this half, play getting a little chippy here once again. But meanwhile, here is Cincinnati looking to capitalize with Ocho Cinco. Mighty Boston calls off the jam as she was the lead. She netted up 4 points.
All right, so I've got an explanation of that delay. Cincinnati failed to field any players during that jam. An illegal procedure penalty was then issued to the captain. That is the explanation we were given, and we're sticking to it.
Well, you got to follow the rules. That's how the WFTDA plays, and our fine officiating group here has been on top of the action here this weekend at Monumental Mayhem. At the line, it will be K Lethal for Cincinnati, and it will be Black Market Baby for arch rival. So, still, Cincinnati within striking distance, still 7.5 minutes or under that still left to play here in regulation. Plenty of clock time here.
And we've got a 3-on-3 pack as both teams have two blockers in the penalty box. And no one has been able to get to lead jammer position yet. But again, K Lethal just seemingly hugging the inside line, able to how she is able. She's got some sort of gravity-defying device that she just doesn't get pushed out of bounds, especially on the inside. That's what I think is so impressive about her. And she's just got very impressive speed. She's born to be a jammer, ladies and gentlemen. And she's in lead jammer position right now. Black Market Baby hot on her tails as both of these skaters are setting up scoring passes. Kay calls it off after picking up 2 points.
Fans, don't forget, if you are enjoying the action this weekend here at Monumental Mayhem, and we know that you are, right around the corner it is Continental Divide and Conquer coming up in a couple of weeks in Colorado. And I'm sure for those of you who have enjoyed the action here on WFTA.com, you've been sampling and purchasing the high-quality feed that you can get for $20 over the course of the weekend. That will be available for the 2011 WFTDA Championships in Colorado, so you can go to WFTA.com and make that purchase early. Not only do you get to see the high-quality feeds, but you also have access to the bounce that's been taking place that weekend. So not only can you watch the action, you can relive it and enjoy the moments that you've experienced in watching this great sport that we love to cover. It will be lead jammer for Wheezy here of Cincinnati. So now Wheezy with the score only being down by 29. Cincinnati here with this lead jammer situation at the 5:30 mark, looking to make a mark.
Right you are, muckety muck. Yeah, again, Cincinnati and the Black Sheep have not backed down this second half. And again, factor out one power jam, and it's frankly a nail-biter, point for point, a single-digit margin for Arch. But at the same time, you got to hand it for Arch. They were given an opportunity. They took advantage of it, and they have not let the number 5 seed get back into this bout. And again, the winner of this bout will face the Chicago outfit on Championship Sunday with the 1:30 p.m. bout. Downtown Dallas through the pack. Wheezy realizes that, calls off the jam. 4 points for Cincinnati, that jam, 0 for Arch. So again, our score 98-123. 98 for the Cincinnati Black Sheep. They are in black, arch rival wearing pink. We have 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Kay Lethal stepping to the line for the Black Sheep of Cincinnati. And she is up against, I'm blocked out by the shoveler.
And that may require stitches.
Thank you very much.
You guys got it. A look at it better at home than we did here in turn number 3. So it's stitches for arch rival.
Wow.
Who has to get around Buckhead Betty.
And she does just that. Buckhead Betty gave her a final little push. Oh, no, wait. That was Skater Kinney who may have given that final push. Again, that's 2 of your best blockers there for the Black Sheep of Cincinnati. And they're doing a very impressive job, even though May Require Stitches has been designated as lead jammer. She has yet to actually escape the pack due to the strong pack play of Buckhead Betty and Skater Kinney.
That's a lot of muscle in front of you right there, and I don't care how quick you are. When you knock into those ladies, they're going to knock you down.
Oh.
And you just saw a good look at it right there as May Require Stitches took a tumble. This has not been an easy lead jam here for Arch Rival.
And again, Kay Lethal has gotten through the pack, but May Require Stitches could call it off at any time. May Require Stitches continues to kind of look behind her to see where Kay is and calls it off right there. Cincinnati asking for a timeout. Our score 198 I'm sorry. That would be me combining the score. 98-123. Arch Rival with 123, so a 25-point lead with 3 minutes and 16 seconds left to play.
And while we are at it, we want to say hello to the fine folks at Elemental Technologies. They're the world's most powerful video processing solutions. That's Elemental Technologies, a fine part of this weekend's action at Monumental Mayhem. And of course, one of our good friends, it's Dr. Hashka. You can stop by the Dr. Hashka booth at any time when you see postseason action here from the WFTDA, and you can check their amazing bruise healing and skincare products. You can find out more by visiting the website drhashka.com. Dr. Hashka's official bruise healer.
Speaking of information, Nuvo,
Yes.
great partner of Naptown and of this tournament, Monumental Mayhem. Nuvo is the alternative weekly paper here in Indianapolis, and we appreciate their support both of Naptown and of Monumental Mayhem.
Well, after that timeout being taken by Cincinnati, they have one left over. Arch Rival has not used a timeout yet. It will be Mighty Mighty Boston at the line taking on Kay Lethal of Cincinnati. If you are from the Buckeye State, don't give up yet, though. They can easily get back into this bout, only being down by 25 with 3:19 left to go. And with Cincinnati here, poised, ready to take the line.
This is a 2-on-2 pack again, as both teams have 2 blockers in the penalty box. We're a little unclear what the delay is right now, because I don't think it's the timeout anymore.
Well, this timeout will continue on, and it looks
Yes,
like
it
it's
will.
now been extended on to a officials timeout.
Which gives us an opportunity, perhaps, Mr. Muckety Muck,
Well, we'll
to
say hello.
thank you again
Yes.
to...
Well, talk is cheap, and you can take it to the track. So
Ain't
check
that
out
the truth?
TICSkateGear.com. You can stop by their booth anytime at Monumental Mayhem, or you can go to their website, TICSkateGear.com. The officials talking it over. Looks like that they got all the complicated mathematics that you have to do with this sport figured out, and we are back underway with Derby.
And again, it's a 2-on-2 pack, and it's Mighty Mighty Boston who gets through that pack very quickly, and she is designated as lead jammer. Kay Lethal still not through the pack, but she is sizing it up. But Mighty Mighty Boston able to put up some points if she can, as she is on her scoring pass. Yeah, Kay Lethal not yet able to escape the pack, which is unusual. She's had such a talented day and a talented bout. but that is a 5 in the air for Mighty Mighty Boston, extending the arch rival lead.
Can't give up yet, though, if you're Cincinnati. Keep it on. Keep it focused. Don't give up yet. Penalty being assessed here to Candy Kickass, unfortunately, though, for the Black Sheep. Still got to stay focused. You can turn it around in a hurry with the power jam, but nothing yet here for Cincinnati as Boston continues on here for arch rival. Don't want to call this one over with yet, though, because Cincinnati can strike you when you least expect it, and they did it to arch rival earlier on tonight. As Boston getting help from Science Friction, also Chewbacca stabbing McCutcheon. It is a full pack once again here for Cincinnati. And with time winding down here, Mighty Mighty Boston's going to try to kill as much clock time as possible here, with them now being up by 30 points. And now the jam will be called, and now the lead is 30. So now we're under 2 minutes left to go in regulation. And I think most importantly for that, getting the lead jammer status and more importantly, killing the clock there for arch rival was imperative off of that last jam there. That was about the most silent that you'll ever see from an arch rival jam there tonight, because Cincinnati has put a good hurting here on arch rival. This has not been an easy road to toe here for the ladies with the number 8 seed.
I apologize, Muckety Muck. So I again just did some quick math. Cincinnati has put up 40 points in the second half, and arch rival has put up 41. So again, we thought this was a more evenly, and again, you factor in that 19-point power jam, and it's a different ball game. But you got to hand it to arch rival. They have maintained their intensity. They took advantage of what they needed to, and there you see May Require Stitches grabbing the lead jammer position. And again, she's had a very good day.
Well, it's been an interesting day, and it looks like so far the template's going to stay pretty much the same that we've experienced in 3 out of 4 bouts, where the lower seed is going to get the victory over the higher seed. Right. And folks, if your brackets weren't broken yet, after today they very well could be, because we've seen a lot of upset derby here at Monumental Mayhem. So arch rival here, as the penalty will be assessed here to Skater Kitty. Hannah Ochocinco collides with Eli Wallop around turn 3. Meanwhile, 4 points scored here by May Require Stitches, who was inserted as a third jammer here tonight. And some people at the outset might have said, what, are you kidding me? But look at how it's paid off here for arch rival. As time winds down here in this bout with arch rival, and now you can pretty much seal the deal with arch rival, who are going to win this bout and advance to the 5th place bout against the Chicago outfit. You're an unofficial final. It's going to be the arch rival Roller Girls 137 and the Cincinnati Roller Girls 98. So now with that victory, arch rival will move into the 5th place bout to take on the Chicago outfit. Meanwhile, if you're Cincinnati, you got to refocus and regroup, because you're next going to be playing Bruce City in a bout that takes place tomorrow morning at 11:40 Eastern. And that's going to be a good bout as well. So definitely you'll want to be there for that bout there. No shame in Cincinnati. They did everything that they could do to try to keep pace here with arch rival, but penalties became a factor in this one here, Ken, and arch rival was able to capitalize on power jams, whereas Cincinnati could not.
I could not agree more with you, Muckety Muck. Yeah, a very strong performance by the arch rival team. Again, top to bottom, really doing a good job. And again, Kay Lethal, just very impressive for the Black Sheep of Cincinnati.
Dump truck here, trackside at the 2011 WFTDA North Central Region Playoff. I am joined by Chewbacca. Chewbacca, you just won against Cincinnati. How does that feel right now?
It's something that ARG has always wanted to do, and we accomplished it.
Well, this means that tomorrow you're going to be bouting for 5th place, trying to take a trophy home to St. Louis, Missouri. To do that, you're going to have to go through the Chicago outfit, who you've already seen once this tournament. Now, it noted, this is the only time other than last week, and this has ever happened in WFTDA history during bracketed tournaments. You're going to see them twice in one weekend. Is there anything that you prepare that's a little different for the first time you see them?
Well, if I told you what we were going to do differently, I'd probably be telling the outfit, so I don't really want to give that away. But we're pretty excited to meet them again. I think that we're pretty neck-and-neck competitors. We split the series in the regular season, so we're just going to go into it. Maybe we'll switch a few things up, throw some things our way. I'm sure they have some secrets lined up for us. So I think our game was maybe one of the most exciting. We started off this tournament, so it's good for WIFTA viewers, if anything. And, well, we'll see what comes tomorrow.
You heard it from Chewbacca. You're very lucky to be watching tomorrow's game, the battle for 5th place.